Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I plan to do today is to add another video to my sub-series entitled All That I've Learned Over the Years from Tony Robbins. I'm over here in this beautiful park, and it's a start to another glorious day, a brand new slate for each and every one of us, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to attach the unknown to the known, which really is the art of learning. Nobody's been to the future. We're all at this point at the same time for those who are alive and well, and it's up to us to make the most of what today has to provide and to make empowering meaning, or to create empowering meaning from whatever we come across today. So what I want to do today is I want to focus on something that Tony Robbins talked about at the recent UPW, and I'll just have a look at these notes and refer to these notes here just to show that there is a method and there is a structure to what we're trying to work on and develop. Because what I want to do is I want to put together a 365 vlog tribute to the big man Tony Robbins. So at the recent UPW, I put together 167 pages of notes, and what I want to focus on today is that second point at the top of the page there, where it says that we often doubt our intuition. So what we'll do is we'll just do a bit of a deep dive into intuition and how it's important to understand how we develop our intuition, what it really is, and how we can leverage it and use it in a way which is productive and empowering. So Tony Robbins mentions the fact that we often doubt our intuition. We often override our intuition, and once again there's an opportunity, there's an invitation for us to try and understand what intuition is. So from my perspective, from my learnings, years ago I went to a seminar that was hosted here in Sydney by an Englishman named Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins at that point in time was considered to be one of the smartest people in the world. He was with Mensa, and he was also and is considered to be the father of mind mapping. And at that seminar he spent quite a bit of time talking about the advances that science has made in understanding how the human brain works and operates. And he made a statement back then that blew me away, where he said that the human brain was the closest thing to infinity in terms of its complexity and its vastness. And whilst man has landed on the moon and man has done lots of things with technology over time, he said the frontier that still hasn't been tapped into properly and understood is the human brain. And he mentioned, and he made a clear distinction when he talks about the human brain, that we have a conscious and a subconscious part, and our conscious brain only represents, a very, very small percentage of what the brain is all about. So he said that the majority, or the vast majority of the human brain, is an area called the subconscious. So let's talk a little bit more about the subconscious. What I'll do is I'll just go out here onto this little section. I'll just walk carefully so I don't fall in and be the laughing stock of Sydney. So yeah, I've just come out here. I'll just put my bag down as well, and then we'll have a bit of a chit chat to see where it leads us. So what Tony Robbins mentioned and said about the human brain is that every single stimulus that we come across from our five senses gets registered and recorded in our subconscious. Everything that's going on, everything we see, everything we feel, everything we hear, we see, we feel, and the other two which evade me at the moment, but they'll come to me. So every stimulus, every impulse, everything that comes through our five senses is recorded perfectly in our subconscious. And our conscious brain only accesses a very, very small percentage, a very, very small part of that subconscious. So everything that happens, he says, you can have a book upside down and you flick through the pages and your subconscious brain will actually record all of those pages. So we've all got a photographic memory. We've also got photographic visuals and feelings, and everything is recorded and put there into our subconscious. So we are essentially perfect recordings of the reality that exists around us. But the interesting thing is, the only thing that we can access, or the only thing that we can remember, are the things that are stored in our conscious brain. And our consciousness is dictated by a number of things: our language, our culture, and the things that we focus on, the things that we obsess over, the things that are important or dangerous to us. And for that reason, sometimes people's fears become the main focus, and hence only those negative things bubble up to the surface. I don't know if you can see down there, but there's a little stingray just moving around. How beautiful is Sydney Harbour? We've got stingrays, we've got seals, we've got so many beautiful things. It's the first time I've ever seen a little stingray down here harbourside. But that's one of the benefits of getting up early. That's one of the benefits of tapping into Jim's 5 a.m. club, because you can too get to experience and see firsthand what I'm experiencing right now. Hello, little fella, how are you? How good is that? I'll just go to the edge here, just keep on recording. So what Anthony Robbins says to us, and what Tony Robbins mentions to us as well, is the importance of being able to understand how the brain works and how we're wired, and how sometimes fears and other things can bubble to the surface. Because, as Anthony Robbins says, where your focus goes, your energy flows. And where your energy goes, that's what helps manifest your reality in this world. I'll just keep on moving just to make it a little bit more interesting. So once again, what we're saying here is that we need to be deliberate and masters of our thinking process, and how we use our reticular activating system so that it serves us rather than becomes our master. So the brain is both very, very clever and also very, very dumb, because the human brain can also add things, it can distort reality, and it can delete things. So how does it delete things? There are things called scotomas, where something could be in front of you and your brain is able to, similarly to AI, is able to delete things that don't serve you, or things that are causing you problems. It can also add things in that are not really there. It can enhance an experience by just filling in the gaps. I don't know if you've ever done the exercise, but on Facebook every now and then you'll get an example where a paragraph is written with words missing and letters back to front and all of those things. And it's amazing how when you look at it you go, oh, what the hell's this? Look, all looks garbled, it all looks messy. But sooner or later, you start reading, and then your brain takes over and it starts filling in the gaps, it starts sorting things out. And this is basically what's happening at the subconscious level, but because you're able to focus on it at the conscious level, you're able to understand how it works and how your brain can serve you. And as we said, the brain can't tell the difference, or this is what scientists tell us. And you can do various experiments to prove this as well, that the brain can't tell the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. So you can close your eyes and visualize something, and you can start salivating, or you can start feeling a certain way, and even your body temperature can start to go up or go down, and you get sensations. But this is just a way, of us understanding a little bit better how the brain works and how the mind works, and how it can be your friend and how it can be your enemy if you don't use it properly. So the other thing that we need to talk about and to examine, and Anthony Robbins talks about this extensively in his books and in his programs, is that the brain can be wired and it can be rewired, and that everything that happens in our lives, everything that happens in the world, is considered to be cyclical and pattern based. So the important thing for us to appreciate and to grasp is that the brain basically identifies patterns and records patterns and puts those patterns away. And then what happens throughout our lives is that we can access this inventory of patterns and we can compare and contrast what's going on and gauge and try and predict and anticipate the outcome. And as I say, we've got empowering patterns and we've got disempowering patterns, because the way we live and the way life works is that whilst we all think that we're living in the same time and space, we're actually living in a parallel sort of space. We're all living in a sort of matrix where the experiences that I have, the reality that I get to experience, is different to the reality that you have. Even if we're standing at the same place, standing side by side, even if we were Siamese twins fused together, we're going to experience a completely different life, because we focus and obsess on different things. We place meaning and place different meanings on things based on the experiences that we've had and the meanings that we've been able to accumulate, the slithers of reality that we've been able to use. And when I say slithers of reality, what I mean is, because we're not all-powerful, because we're not omnipresent, we can't live every person's life. We can't be everywhere at the same time. We can't experience what everybody is experiencing at the same time. So we've had a different past, a completely different past. Everybody has had a completely different past and a unique past. Nobody's going to live and experience your past. You can write all the books in the world, you can do all the vlogs in the world, but nobody's going to live your past and understand the decisions and the realities that you have either created in your own mind as a figment of your imagination, or that you've inherited from somebody else, be it your family, your father, your mother, your parents, your grandparents, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, schoolmates, work peers, the media, celebrity, you name it. We're also absorbing other people's realities and placing different weightings on those things as well. So let's get one thing straight. We've all had a different past, a uniquely different past. We're all going to experience a different now. I am here, you're somewhere else. I'm obsessing and focusing over here on the Opera House. You could be over here and looking at the Harbour Bridge or something else. You don't know what's going on in people's minds. People could be drifting off. People could be looking at the Opera House and thinking about something else. So we're all going to have a different experience in the here and now, and we're all going to have a completely different future. So once again, what you focus on, what you experience, what you put meaning to, and how you put that meaning to, and how much emotion is included in that meaning, will colour, will shade, will shape your world view and how you see the world. You know, some people see the world completely differently, you know, because there are cultural spins and accents that are put on experiences. There are religious colourings of things and shape and colour things for us. Our own past experiences help us add to our body of knowledge. And once again, as we said, you know, you can be a matcher or you can be a mismatcher. And a matcher, as Tony Robbins says, is a person who tries to find the common thread between things. Whereas a mismatcher is a person who's always looking for what's different and what's wrong. So all of these things, all of these mindsets are going to impact and affect the patterns that you see, the way you see those things, and the meaning that you attach to those things, and also the weighting and the priority of what you attach to those things. But all of those things that we talk about are part of you, are uniquely part of you. And as we said before, you can take slithers of reality, the things that you have seen, touched, feel, tasted, and fully experienced in your life, and you can use those to help you make decisions and to assess what's currently going on and what potentially may go on in the future. And you can also take other people's experiences through the books you read, through the news channels that you watch, from the YouTube channels that you watch, from the people you hang out with. Because sooner or later, we all become an average, a weighted average of the people we spend most time with. We end up thinking the way they think. We end up walking the way they walk. We end up laughing the way they laugh. And we end up living our lives based on how they live their lives. And for that reason, Tony Robbins says it is so important to choose your peer group. Love your family, love your friends, because they can give you support, they can comfort you. But from a peer group perspective, if you want to grow and develop and become a better version of yourself, you need to have people who are going to cajole you, who are going to push you, bend you, stretch you, and force you to be uncomfortable, because it's through that discomfort that you're actually growing, developing, and becoming a better version of yourself. So getting back to intuition, what intuition is, or potentially is, intuition is a combination of all of those patterns that are sitting in your most magnificent subconscious. And what we need to be able to do is to embrace and to submit to that intuition. That intuition could be your conscience. That intuition could be your guardian angel. That intuition could be God talking to you. But also, as a warning, that intuition could also be the devil. It could be a demon who's pretending to be something and creating a scenario, or creating or presenting a potential pattern to you that could be a false pattern. So on the one hand, we need to submit and to tap into our intuition, but by the same token, we need to do it with guidance. We need to do it with open eyes and an open and focused, should I say, mind, so that we don't fall victim to the demons and to, I guess, bad spirits, so to speak. So sometimes when people overthink things, this is where Tony Robbins is leading to. Sometimes if you overthink things and you override your intuition, then sometimes you get yourself trapped, and you get yourself in trouble, because our intuition, to a certain extent, is perfection personified. As we say, and Tony Robbins confirms this for us, that the human brain is the closest thing in the universe, outside of God, of course, to perfection. And we have this tool, we have this resource available to us, as long as we know how to tap into it as long as we can trust it, because, as somebody said to me, because everything is recorded in your subconscious, and you're able potentially to access it through reframing your reticular activating system and asking the right questions. The answers are all there. This is where prayer is important, and having prayer as you're prepping in the morning, where you glorify God with all your heart, mind and soul. You worship God with all your heart, mind and soul. You thank God. You show gratitude for all the miracles seen and unseen that have come into our lives, and we live a life where we love God with all our heart, mind and soul, and we also love ourselves and our neighbours as we love ourselves. So with all of that in mind, it's important to use prayer to have a relationship with God, so that God can give us the signs, God can open our heart and guide us. Because at the end of the day, intuition is good, rationale is good, but it needs to be linked to something that has eternal value and eternal reward. And for that reason, we need to ask ourselves a very, very basic question at every decision point. Is what I'm thinking, is what I'm doing now going to be God-pleasing? Is it going to be partnering with God on his mission to create a better world, to save my soul, to save other people's soul? Because as my spiritual father says to me, whatever you do in life is going to be a reflection of who you are, who you think, and the relationship that you have with God, or the lack of relationship that you have with God. And for that reason, we need to be asking ourselves empowering questions. We need to be going, of course, with our feeling, with our intuition, with our conscience, by listening and being guided by our guardian angel, and through God's will, and not fighting God's will, because nobody can really understand what God's will is from time to time. But we need to trust in God's will. We need to trust in God's providence. And for that reason, we need to pray, and we need to submit to God's will, and to open up and to embrace what is going to come our way, because we know that life is here for us. Life is here to benefit us, and we need to try and understand and to see and to, do the things that are going to help us be spiritually lifted. I'll just grab my bag and I'll start walking, but we'll continue to talk. But as you can see, it's just another glorious spring morning here in Sydney town. I have the benefit of working down here in the CBD at the moment, which allows me to do my vlogs in the morning, catch this wonderful sunrise, and also comment and put together a library of information on all that I've learnt from Tony Robbins. So the bottom line is, we need to, trust and believe, and allow ourselves to receive and live God's will, and to trust in God's providence is a key message, and to understand that our intuition really is something very powerful that we need to submit to. But of course, as I mentioned before, the warning is that we shouldn't be just doing things that are pleasurable to us. They should be pleasurable to us because they're giving pleasure, they're pleasing God, and they're helping our neighbours. As we know, the reason why God gifts us with health, the reason why God gifts us with education, with wealth, and all the other gifts that are apportioned to people in different amounts, is so that we can use those gifts to be a partner with God in creation and to help others and to be of benefit to our neighbours, rather than to take all of those gifts and just to be selfish and just to try and live a better life for us and us only. The reason why we have these gifts is so that we can contribute and we can help others who are in need. So I think I'll leave it there, everybody. Just as an aside, I remember many years ago coming down here when I was boyfriend and girlfriend with my wife Paula, and there's a place here. Whereabouts is it? I can't see it now. Here it is. There's a place there where there's an arrow, and I remember my then girlfriend Paula standing up there, and I had my Nikon EL2 camera that I'd paid $550 for back in the early 80s. I bought it from my Uncle George, and it was an absolutely magnificent camera. I remember taking one of those iconic snaps of my wife Paula leaning back and smiling at this iconic place. So I'll bring my grandchildren down here one day and try and get a snap of them as well, because this is a place that is forever in my heart. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where we've examined the importance of tapping into and using your intuition, and from a scientific perspective and from a religious perspective, a Christian perspective, understanding what intuition is, so that it's not to be feared, it's to be respected, and it's to be used for our benefit, but more importantly for our benefit of giving to others, because the act of giving is probably the highest thing, and Tony Robbins is in many ways considered to be a philanthropist, and he asks people to seek and to understand their calling and to be able to express their calling to help others live a better life. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm under the Harbour Bridge at the moment, and the sun is now well and truly heading up, and we'll chat again. Yassas, take care, and bye for now.